September 11th, 20 years ago. Over the weekend, I wanted to write a reflection on 9/11, but kept falling short. Trying to memorialize those events in a shareable form made me fear that I might be trying to use the tragedy as an engine for self-promotion. But as I scrolled social media, I saw some of my friends post some especially grisly images. And when I realized their reasoning wasn't to beat their chest, but to restoke their animus in order to justify their service, the following words came to me. Although I understand the why, it didn't change the fact that I had no stomach to relive what happened 20 years ago. Especially armed with the knowledge that Minoru Yamasaki's fear of heights is what inspired the 18-inch windows that wrapped around the towers, thus allowing me to peer into the minds of our desperate countrymen who made the conscious choice to die by their own actions rather than face the fires ignited by our enemies. 20 years ago, a woman named Sana Ann Phillip heroically faced death by maintaining her modesty by holding down her skirt as she fell into the beyond. While today, many birthing people have been forced to degrade themselves not only with the name, but by creating an OnlyFans account because their jobs weren't deemed essential due to draconian government shutdown mandates. 20 years ago, American heroes were people like off-duty Port Authority police officer George Howard, who rushed to the scene when he had heard American Airlines Flight 11 hit the North Tower, where he gave his life alongside 36 other Port Authority police, 343 FDNY, and 23 NYPD. Those brave first responders helped successfully evacuate an estimated 25,000 people of every race and religion before the towers came down. While today, American heroes have multiple felonies, overdose on fentanyl, and claim that all cops are bastards. 20 years ago, those images lit a fire underneath of the melting pot and everyone in America became a New Yorker, which galvanized our nation's youth into a fist to strike back at those responsible. While today, American youth are being distilled and indoctrinated by repurposed Marxist critical theory to destroy Dr. King's dream of being judged by the content of one's character and not by the color of their skin. 20 years ago, Americans thought their service to our country would preserve American values and freedom against international extremists. While today, Americans are gladly surrendering their freedoms for the guise of safety to the extremists within the halls of government who defend international corporations who aim to degrade our values by lionizing our vices. 20 years ago, what happened on 9/11 inspired me to unknowingly become a part of the military-industrial complex and a gangster for Wall Street. Although now, I'm inspired to tear it apart and become a prophet of peace. Because I know there are some that fantasize about war the way a virgin does about sex. And to those unexperienced fools, I'd like to forewarn that the last 20 years produced a generation of warriors who are more intimate with death than their lovers embrace. And we don't need protection.